Hey, what it do, Sports World, and welcome to the Real Untouchable podcast with me, Ray Diggs. I got a great segment for you all. I want to talk about week 6 of college football, the post game. What happened with my picks, all right? As you all know, I always put out my pick'ems every week. Normally, I do them as soon as the games are over with, but, I've been a little busy, so I had to wait a couple of days. But guess what? I'm back. And, hey, make sure y'all hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the share button. And also make sure y'all give me your feedback on what you all like and dislike from this segment. Okay, but listen, I want to talk about the college football. As you all know, this right here was week 6 of college football. As everything is starting to shape up, the games that we had this week, but the games that we got coming up this coming week will pretty much let us know who's a pretender and who's a contender in college football. Okay, I'm going to go down the line of the top 25 picks that I made, the ones that I got wrong and the ones that I got right. And I want to, at the end, I want to talk about why is it that Shedeur Sanders, every time I'm starting to feel like this kid is just a front runner. And I'm going to tell y'all what a front runner is. He's a person that every time they're ahead, they're celebrating, but when they're down, they got their heads down. You see what I'm saying? Every time you lose a game, it's no Brady mode. When you get beat 42-6 or you get beat 48-41, it's no Brady mode. But when you beat a team, a 1-5 team, it's Brady mode. But we're gonna go up into that at the end. But let's talk about the college football top 25 picks of my picks and the ones that I got right and the ones that I got wrong, and how did I get those wrong. But I want to talk about number 12 Oklahoma versus number 3 Texas in the Red River Shootout. As you all know, Oklahoma pulled it off. I went with Texas because I just thought Texas was a better team. But looking at Oklahoma is a really good team. Okay, and they have a really good quarterback. Gabriel is a really good quarterback. All right, he got the weapons that he needs. And one thing that Oklahoma had this year that they haven't been having is they have a pretty good defense. They have a really good offensive line. They outplayed Texas from the beginning, and that is the reason why they beat the Texas Longhorns. Okay, even though I felt the Texas would be the more physical team because they was a more physical team against Alabama. But this game right here, Oklahoma came in and they was the most physical team, and that is the reason why they escaped it with this win right here. With Texas, Quinn Ewers, he pretty much took the Texas Longhorn down, got a field goal. They was up. Everybody thought the game was over with. But Gabriel, he came back, and he pretty much threw the game-winning touchdown. And I know everybody was shocked. Everybody was like, oh, my God, I can't believe this is happening to the Texas Longhorn. But Oklahoma, and looking at Oklahoma's schedule, they have the inside track on the BCS, on the college football playoffs right now. And the reason why is because they don't have another hard game on their schedule. Besides maybe Texas again in the Big 12 championship game. They have the inside scoop on the college football playoff. And I expect for this team to win out because they have a schedule that's not really that difficult. And I expect for them to win all of those games. I had Maryland at number 4, Ohio State. I had Ohio State winning, and Ohio State ultimately started off slow, but they ended up getting Marvin Harrison Jr. involved, and they ended up winning that game. I had number 11, Alabama at Texas A&M. I had Alabama winning, in which they did. Alabama defense dominated this game. That defensive line pretty much dominated the game. But the one thing that I'm starting to feel when it comes to Alabama is this team is so undisciplined. That is something that I never thought I would say when it comes down to a Nick Saban team, is that they're undisciplined. This team false starts. This team holding, all the type, oh my God, penalties was killing this team. They could have ran a touchdown on a defensive touchdown as a block a block field goal. What happened? It was a petty call by the refs. I think the refs had a bad game. This right here was a bad refereeing game from the referees as well, because some of those calls they was calling against Alabama was just based. It was touch calls. But at the end, Alabama was very undisciplined in this game, and they was lucky to actually escape with a win in College Station. And I said it before. I said it's hard to win down there in College Station. You have to pretty much play a perfect game. But because their defense was so dominant, it's pretty much covered up the offense. But Jalen Milroe, I told you all, every week he's getting better and better. He's kind of getting into his groove now. And then he got his receiver in. Okay, now they finally getting Isaiah Bond into it. They getting the rest of those guys involved. So I feel like when it comes down to this Alabama team, that people really have to understand is that this team right here is a first-year quarterback. Jalen Milroe is a first-year quarterback. So, of course, he's going to be rusty. And honestly, I feel like him in this game right here, you went on the road and you beat a really, really good team. Jermaine, what's his name is again? Jermaine Burton. Yeah, I knew his name, but it just slipped my mind. Jermaine Burton and Isaiah Bond is really starting to get to it. But the one thing I would say about this Alabama team is what I was looking at, it's the running game. Jason McClellan, he had only 45 yards. They only had 23 yards of rushing. And I just don't know if that's going to do it. But because Isaiah Bond, 96 yards, 1 touchdown, and Jermaine Burton, 187 yards, basically, these two combined for almost 300 yards, that is the reason why this team, and when it comes down to defense, you had all types of sacks. They ended up finishing with 5 sacks, led by, those defensive ends. Chris Broswell and Dallas Turner pretty much dominated the game, and that's why Alabama escaped out of Texas A&M with the win. We had number 20 Kentucky at number 1 Georgia. I went with Georgia. Georgia dominated this game. Carson Beck pretty much put on a show. He pretty much showing everybody that he can pretty much be a franchise quarterback, meaning a college franchise quarterback. I don't know about the NFL. Yes, he have the size, 6'4", 6'5", big quarterback that can throw it. And he pretty much is finally getting settled into this offense. And that is the reason why this team won this game 51-13 against previously unbeaten Kentucky. But this game wasn't even close from the beginning. This right here was a domination. This right here was a beatdown. And I expect for this team right here to keep doing what they're doing. They don't have a hard schedule. I expect for Georgia to keep beating up on teams because this team is going to only get better and better on the offensive side of the ball. And that's why this team right here is ranked number 1, riding a 23-game winning streak right now, as the Georgia Bulldogs are. Okay, we had we had number 10 Notre Dame at number 25 Louisville. I went with Notre Dame because I feel like Notre Dame was battle tested, but they went to Louisville on a Saturday night, and Louisville slapped them in the mouth, pretty much dominated them over 4 quarters. Sam Hartman, he was dominated over this game. They ended up losing the game 33-20. When I tell you this Louisville team is really, really good, is this team really, really good, or was we overlooking Notre Dame? And if you look at Notre Dame has had a hard schedule to start this thing off. They played Ohio State 2 weeks ago. Last week they had another hard game. This week they played against Louisville. They have had a very, very hard schedule these last 3 weeks. Is that taking a toll on this Notre Dame team? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe Louisville is just that good. But I picked Notre Dame because I feel like they was battle tested, losing the game against Notre Dame. Against Ohio State, and then ultimately last week they had a really, really good game against Duke. That's who it was, Duke. They beat Duke last week, so they had Ohio State, Duke, and then Louisville. This team right here has pretty much had played one of the hardest schedules the last 3 weeks. And I think it finally caught up with them against Louisville. Now, I'm not going to take nothing away from Louisville because they dominated. But I picked Notre Dame to win, and I ultimately got that game wrong because Louisville dominated them over 4 quarters. We had Arkansas at number 16, Ole Miss. My Hogs, they continue to just lose games. They ended up losing this game 27-20. They had the game. They were tied up for the longest, but in the end, Arkansas does what they always do, which is choke up a game, lose the game late. KJ Jefferson, like I said, the guy, he's just not it, man. I hate to say it, but he's just not it. And in the end, Arkansas, it started off 2-4 right now, going to Alabama this weekend, which they're going to probably be 2-5. KJ Jefferson, this game right here, he was 25 for 39, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But I'm going to tell you KJ Jefferson's issue. It's situational football. His thing is situational football. It's like in a certain situations, he don't know what to do. He's going to throw an interception at the worst time, or he'll fumble at the worst time. And that is the reason why I think that this team right here is the reason why this team right here is 2-4, soon to be 2-5 as they get ready to go to Alabama this Saturday. But Ole Miss, they pretty much did what Ole Miss they needed to do. Right now they're 5-1, and they had a hell of a game, a hell of a rushing game, combining for almost 200 yards. Ole Miss on the ground, and Ole Miss just continue to surprise people. This is a really good team in the SEC West. Alabama, they was destroyed by Alabama, but this team has bounced back really, really good these last 2 weeks, and I expect for Lane Kiffin to keep this team going because this is a really, really good team with Jackson Dort and the rest of those guys. All right, but they ended up beating Arkansas in this game 27-20, and then we had Arizona at USC. This game right here ended up going into overtime, in 3 overtimes, in which USC won the game 43-41. Everybody is on social media talking about Shedeur Sanders doing all this right here. But you got Caleb Williams, this young superstar quarterback from USC, putting on a masterpiece performance at midnight. I'm talking about dominating the Arizona defense, leading his team back as they went down 17-0 to bring them back to win this game. But everybody want to talk about Shedeur Sanders and his walk-off field goal. Well, the Colorado Buffaloes walk-off field goal, while we're missing the point of perfection in what Caleb Williams was doing in the fourth quarter to lead this team in overtime, to lead this team back to win the game. He ended up finishing with 219 yards passing, 1 touchdown, but he also had 41 yards rushing and 3 rushing touchdowns. That is the big thing. In a lot of these, he would have had more touchdowns than this if it wasn't so many drop passes. But this USC team, I expect for them to be battle tested these next couple of weeks. As you all know, like I said, this week right here, they will play at Notre Dame. Then they play against Utah, California. Then this right here is the nitty-gritty of their schedule. They play against Washington, Oregon, and then UCLA. So this team right here, honestly, with the way they've been playing the last couple of weeks, even with how great Caleb Williams is, even how great this kid has been performing this year, this team right here the last 2 weeks has looked very, very vulnerable. And I expect for this team right here to lose a couple games this season because of how terrible their defense is. If you give up 41 points to an Arizona team that's 3-3, or if you give up 41 points to a Colorado team that was 2-2, or whatever they are, you are not looking good, especially in that division against teams like a Washington or Oregon that can explode at any moment. That's why I think this team right here. But in the end, they won this game 43-41 in triple overtime. All right. So let's talk about number 23 LSU at number 21 Missouri. I said upset alert. LSU will win this game. In the beginning, I said, man, you know what? Maybe this pick right here is wrong. Maybe I should have never went with LSU. But Jaden Daniels, Lord, listen, if y'all had not been watching this kid, Jaden Daniels from LSU, this kid right here is a prime time player. These are quarterbacks that we need to be talking about that we're not. This kid right here has been pretty much putting LSU on his back. This game right here got out of hand at the beginning. They could not stop. When I say they could not stop Missouri was pretty much dominating them at the beginning of this game. But guess what? This kid put them on his back and brought them back to win this game. Jaden Daniels, 15 for 21, 259 yards, 3 touchdowns. Also 15 carries, 130 yards rushing, and 1 touchdown. And that's what I'm talking about. These quarterbacks like him and Caleb Williams are pretty much putting their team on their back and killing and beating these top-rated teams. Missouri was undefeated. They're now 5-1. Same thing with Caleb Williams. This kid is putting this team on his back, leading them every single week. And that's why they are undefeated. And that's why LSU is still have an inside track on the SEC West, because if they would have lost this game, their season was done. It was wrapped. It was no way they would. It was no way they would win the SEC West. But this team with Jaden Daniels pretty much got themselves back on track, winning the game 49-39, 49-39 after being down in this game. They was down in this game. And like I tell people, man, this team right here, they rallied from a big early deficit, and they pretty much won the game. LSU, y'all better watch out for them. I'm not saying they're going to win the national championship, but this team right here have a really, really good chance to be somewhere towards the top if they continue to just get their defense together and continue to put up points like Jaden Daniels have. All right. But hey, let's talk about number 13, Washington State at UCLA. I picked Washington State to win because I've been picking Washington State all year. But in the end, UCLA ended up winning. They won the game 25-17. Cameron Ward had a terrible game. He was 19 for 39, 197 yards, only 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. But the young true freshman and Dante Moore, he had an okay game. Passed the ball 44 times. He only had 22 completions, also had 2 interceptions with 1 touchdown. But it was Carson Steele who stole the show for this UCLA team. 30 carries, 141 yards. And he just put them on his back when they needed to. And that is the reason why UCLA won this game, to improve their record to 4-1. Both of these teams 4-1. Like I said, it's going to start shaping up in the next couple of weeks in the Pac-12. And that's why I say this is the most intriguing conference in college football this year. But they won the game 25-17. Okay, we had Virginia Tech at number 5, Florida State. Florida State dominated the game. They won 39-17. Continue to be undefeated. Continue to show people how versatile this team is, how many ways this team can win. And Florida State is going to be a team that's going to be towards the top at the end of the season. This is a really, really good team. All right. We had Syracuse at number 14, North Carolina. And Drake May pretty much put on a show and show everybody why he's the number 2 rated quarterback in this class, in this season class of quarterbacks, of great quarterbacks. He pretty much had 33 for 47, 442 yards with 3 touchdowns. He also had 55-yard rushing. That's another thing about these young quarterbacks and why everybody's drooling in the NFL and everybody's tanking, as me and the Pat, as we say, you hear me say, tank for Caleb, tank for Drake. Yes, that's what I'm talking about, is that these two are franchise quarterbacks. Somebody is going to get themselves a franchise quarterback in this year draft with the number 1 and number 2 pick with Drake May and Caleb Williams, because these two quarterbacks are off the radar when it comes down to greatness. And somebody's gonna get themselves 2 great young franchise quarterbacks when it's time to draft. And I think in April, when the NFL draft is. But North Carolina won this game 40-7 to remain undefeated. Also, a little bit of news: North Carolina got their star wide receiver back, so he was out, so he's back. And now Drake May have all his weapons at his disposal now. What's going to happen with this North Carolina team? Can they continue to go? Can they beat a team like Florida State? Can they beat a team like Clemson, like Duke? We're going to find out, because these teams have to play. But hey, Drake May, he's the best. He's one of the best quarterbacks in this class. So I expect for North Carolina to continue their undefeated streak as he continues to play like a franchise quarterback. Okay, we had number 2, Michigan at Minnesota. Number 2, Michigan won this game. I picked them to win. They don't play nobody until maybe later in the season, but I expect for them to win this game. Okay, we have Georgia Tech at number 17, Miami. This game right here was a game that was pretty much over with. But then Mario Cristobal ran the ball, his running back fumbled. Then Georgia Tech ended up getting the ball and taking it back down the field to score a game-winning touchdown. And they basically scored a touchdown with 2 seconds left to win the game 23-20. And now everybody's mad at Mario Cristobal because guess what? He did this one time before, which was when he was with the when he was with the Oregon Ducks. Did the exact same thing. But I'm not going to put all the blame on Mario Cristobal because I'm going to put some of the blame on the running back. Was the running back down? Yes. That was bad officiating. Yes, the running back was down. Yes, but in the end, the running back have to hold on to the ball. You have to hold on to the ball because if you don't, you're not going to play. So he didn't hold on to the ball, and ultimately they ended up losing the game. So I'm not going to put it, and in the end, the defense have to learn how to stop somebody. You have to win a national championship, you got to be able to stop teams when they're about to march down the field to get a game-winning touchdown. You have to stop them. And in the end, Miami couldn't stop them, and they lose the game 23-20. And this right here was a heartbreaking loss for the Miami Hurricanes. I can't even lie. This right here was very, very heartbreaking. But the good thing about it, they have a game this week against North Carolina where they can bounce back. They're number 25. So if you can beat the number 12 team, which is North Carolina, and guess what? Everybody forget about all this right here. And they'll be back on track. They'll have an inside track on the ACC. But right now, this team have to be, maybe, I know they're heartbroken right now. But let's talk about number 24, Fresno State at Wyoming. Fresno State won this game. Well, actually, Wyoming upset Fresno State 24-19. And like I said, these teams right here, sometimes these teams they go to these other teams stadium and they don't understand how hard it is to win inside these stadiums. Like I tell everybody about Texas Tech, Texas A&M. It's hard to win in these stadiums. It's hard to win in Baylor. So, Baylor used to be the place that's the trap game. Same thing with this Fresno State team. They went down to Wyoming thinking it's going to be an easy game because Wyoming wasn't nothing. It was a bad team. Well, actually, Wyoming was 4-1. And then you go in, you lose the game, and now what? And Fresno State had the 14th he had a 14-game winning streak, which was the second longest to Georgia's 23-game winning streak. So they ended that streak. So Fresno State had a lot on the line, but went down as a trap game, and they ended up getting tripped up, and the reason why they lost this game. Okay, we had number 15 Oregon State at California. Oregon State dominated this game. DJ pretty much put on a show, kind of like throwing for 5 touchdowns. The kid has had a great season. Oregon State is 5-1. And they had a great. This right here was a great win for DJ. I'm happy to see him out here playing football, enjoying himself down here at Oregon State. And he's had a hell of a season as well. Have thrown for 1,300 yards, 13 touchdowns with 4 interceptions. Like I said, a lot of people don't look at him as a franchise quarterback, but somebody's going to get themselves a really, really good quarterback because DJ is still a good quarterback. All right. So don't think that this kid has fallen apart since he left Clemson. Actually, he's gotten better and a more offense that fit him. He don't have to run as much. And I expect for him to be up towards the top when it comes down to the top quarterbacks being drafted in next year's draft. All right. So, hey, that's right there was it, man. I was 11-4 last week, 11-4. I had a good week. But now I want to talk about Colorado. Colorado beat a 1-5 Arizona State team 27-24, and that's all we was hearing about. Shedeur Sanders. That's all we were seeing on SportsCenter and everything else. But this is the issue that I got. Why is it that when you lose, your head is down, you're making excuses, it's amazing more victories, but then when you win, you want to be in all up in the student section, and you want to put your watch up. Why you don't put your watch up when you win? Because that's what we call a front runner. Shedeur Sanders, he's the #1 front runner in college football. And I'm going to tell y'all why. And Skip Bayless, yeah, you won't say it, because you need Deion Sanders on your side to come give you an interview every now and then to boost your ratings up. So that's why you won't say it, but I will because I don't care. Guess what? He's a front runner because that's what front runners do. Front runners, when they're winning, they're cheering. When they're losing, they're making excuses. And that is exactly what we do for this Colorado team. When they win, oh my God, they're here. We're here, and all this, we're coming. But when they lose, we're about 6 or 7 pieces away. Which one is it? Are you 6 or 7 pieces away, or are you here? And that is the problem that I got with this Colorado team. But nobody want to say nothing. Everybody want to just, oh man, Deion, he did a really, really good job. Honestly, I feel like what Matt Rule is doing at North Nebraska is on the level of what Deion Sanders is doing right now at Colorado, because he took a very, very, very bad team as well, and now they're 3-3. Honestly, they was giving Colorado a lot of issues until the quarterback started fumbling and throwing interceptions and allowing Colorado to put points on the scoreboard by a short field. So I'm just being honest, man. We have to stop making excuses for Colorado when they lose. But then, oh yeah, this team has already exceeded expectations. Yes, they have. But at the end of the day, you have exceeded expectations. But guess what? We still have high expectations for you. We're not gonna just say, okay, Vegas said you're gonna win 3 games. Okay, that's what Vegas said. Vegas always wrong. So if you got good players, then why not win now? Like what's his name? Kirby Smart do in his first year at Georgia? Nick Saban was bad his first year, but think about it. Nick Saban was in the SEC. You're in the Pac-12. And honestly, the nitty-gritty of your schedule ain't even here yet. You still got to play the likes of Washington and Oregon State and, you know what I'm saying, UCLA. You still have to play the nitty-gritty of your schedule. These last 2 games are probably the 2 worst teams in the Pac-12, which is Arizona, 1-5, Arizona State, 1-5, and Stanford, who y'all played this week. And then you get a bye week before you play against a UCLA team that I think is going to beat you all. That's just my opinion. So I need Shedeur Sanders to pump the brakes, slow your roll, stop front running. When you are losing, stop crying. When you're winning, you want to celebrate in front of the student sections and all this other craziness, okay? And then everybody's like, oh man, let's do the Shedeur. Let's do the Shedeur. Listen, man, listen. If you want to sit around and front run like Shedeur, by all means do that. Because that's exactly what he's doing, front running against every team until they're getting smacked on. And then when they get smacked on against a team like Oregon, everybody want to be mad at Oregon's coach. Oh, Oregon coach said this. Oregon coach said that they know. That's what I don't understand. But hey, man, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is, man. Thank y'all again for tuning in to another great segment of the Real Untouchable podcast with me, Ray Diggs. Hey, listen, make sure you all hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the share button. And let me know what you all like and dislike from this segment. And hey, make sure y'all have a great day, great night, wherever you're at. Hey, peace and love and blessing here from the Real Untouchable podcast with Ray Diggs.